Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I am Everardo Resendiz. People around here know me as Coach Ever. I am a certified executive and business coach in Northwest Louisiana with Action Coach. And I today have Britany Vinson with Tomé. Um, it's my guest, and we're going to be talking about her business, the journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what it really is like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. And so, Brittany, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Coach Ever. Thank you for having me.
Will you share with us a little overview of your background and tell us a little bit
Mhm.
about Tome?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Brittany. I am the chef and owner of Tomé. Formerly known as we call it Tomé Catering, is what we originally started as. I have a bachelor's in hospitality administration, and then I have an associate's in culinary arts for my culinary degree. And this year will mark 11 years in business. And so I always say I have two birth dates. 2009 was when the vision was birthed, and then 2014 is when I officially legally got everything going and started the right way. And so um, just take a lot of pride in just making sure in two avenues, in food and in service, that we treat people with excellence, and we take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. And so that's kind of what Tomei stands for. It's a made up word, an acronym, and it's the first letter of each word: the ordinary made extraordinary. So just the first letter of that phrase is kind of just a word that just came up with back in 2009. And so that has birthed the vision of what we are today. So
Ms. Brittany, I just had a question. This is very key. You said that your your vision was born in 2009. It took 5 years from there to you actually getting started.
yeah.
So may I inquire what happened at that point? What was the birth of it? And so what did it take for you to be able to launch?
Yeah, in the beginning, 2009. So like whenever I was working in corporate America in the restaurant, I was like, okay, I believe I can do something more than this. I want to do something more. And so that's when I designed my first logo in PowerPoint. I actually started catering, and I only got one catering a month. And so it was very discouraging in the beginning, just to be completely honest with you. And so I just got one caterer, and I was like, okay, this isn't it. And so I did it for 1 year, paused it, and was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to culinary school. Went back to culinary school. It took me, I was still working full time, so it took me 3 years to graduate in a 2 year program. So I didn't have a day off for 3 years, and so that's one thing. Those are the behind the scenes things that people don't see as far as
That's
starting
right.
your business and doing the things that you have to do. You have to sacrifice. You have to devote the time. You have to be willing to put in the hard work. So basically, for 3 years, I had no day off. And then in 2013, I had an employee at the restaurant I was working. She said, "Britt, I want you to cater my wedding." I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not doing catering." It didn't work out the first time that I tried to do it, and so I was like, "No, I'm not going to do it," because in catering you have to do things the right way. You have to have a commercial kitchen. So I had to go rent a kitchen. I had to find somewhere. I had to get it certified by the health department, and that's one thing I'm big on: is do business. You do business, you do it the right way. And so it was a process to be able to do it the right way. And so whenever she kept asking me, and then finally I was like, okay, I'm gonna cater your wedding. We catered that wedding, and after that, people started calling and asking. I was like, okay, God, I think okay, this is maybe the direction you want me to go. And so at that point, it became 2014. I got my LLC, got the logo official, started, doing everything, working toward getting my own kitchen and stuff like that. But yes, it did take 5 years of ups and downs, and decision making and hard work, and putting things in behind the scenes that to be able to fully launch in 2014. So
And the feelings, like it really messes with your head because you're
yes.
doubting every step that you take, and you want to pursue it with a vengeance, but the conditions don't come out right. It's almost
Mm-mm.
like you gotta hedge your bets and wait, be ready to take on that next opportunity. But like you
Yeah.
said, it isn't like you were looking; it just came to you, right?
Mhm.
So yes,
Yes, sir.
that's a mysterious way of working out, and I've seen it quite a bit in my career as a coach. Um, set the stage for people. I mean, really, do you are you the sole owner, or do you have any partners in these? Are you planning to take this public?
Yes, so I am the sole owner, 100%. This is my business. I've been very fortunate. I've had people come up beside me. My best friend has been key, and she actually put her life on hold for 2 years, helped me get the business started. I have my head chef is has we've worked together for almost 20 years now, between another restaurant I'm putting here, and then I have my catering managers. We worked together for 6 years, and so like I fully believe in. Yes, I'm the owner, but I'm only as strong as the people I have around me. So leadership is huge and key, in making sure that any business is successful. And so yes, my goal is I want to franchise. Like I want to be able to take Tomé to the next level. My family. So I live in Texas. All my family lives in Georgia. My dream, ultimate dream, is I want to have a Tomé in Georgia so that my family can just pull up at any time and be able to get food, to be able to take care of my family, in that way where they don't have to worry about cooking. So.
So you did mention that you have, of course, a team of people working with you. Um, Tell us a little bit about the role that you currently play in the business. What do you do for Tomé?
So right now I have gotten to a place and it's amazing feeling. It's taken me about 8 years. So it took me 8 out of the 11 years. I'm working on my business, not so much in my business. And so I have 7 leaders around me. I have a leader over every department of the business. And so every day I've had the opportunity over the last 2 years to continue to build, to continue to pour in. I do all the paperwork, obviously payroll schedules, emails, the communication, internally with the staff. I communicate with my leaders, and like my catering manager, she talks directly to all clients. My kitchen manager, he directs all of the team in the kitchen. My knack and my Lufkin store managers deal with the drive-throughs at both locations. My vending lead is the one that does all the vending machines, and I've taken a backseat role, and I'm doing my part is pouring into them to make them stronger and stronger leaders. And because Craig Rochelle said this, and this has stuck with me for the last 4 years, and this is what helped get me off the rat wheel of working in the business was you can either have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. And so I've had to learn how to release control, delegate, trust my team. And that has probably been one of the greatest blessings because I actually have quality of life now. I can actually, I'm not like literally killing myself working 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 6 or 7 days a week, because I have strong people around me. So.
That is amazing. That's a very great insight. Now, this journey, we talk about it because now you have that clarity. You know that that's what it takes, and you're looking at it from where you're sitting today, looking back and saying, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense today, right?
Yeah.
But along that journey, right? How difficult was it?
Oof. It has been a struggle. I'm not even gonna lie. There's probably been almost literally every year I've wanted to quit because it's hard. The financial struggles, the debt, the employee struggles. It has taken me. It actually was 2 years ago to this month. I actually had a nervous breakdown, and like literally, mentally, physically, my body, everything shut down, and I got to such a breaking point that I was something had to change. I was literally killing myself, and so that the last 2 years I've completely transformed my vision on life, on business, on my leadership style, on how I need to do a better job taking care of me. The first 8 to 8 years and probably the first 20 years of my career, even when I was working in corporate
Right.
America, I worked open to close. Restaurant industry is not, it's normal to work 80 hours a week. And that's not physically feasible for our bodies long term. And I finally, it took me about 20 years and I hit that wall. And so it's not easy. But that's one thing I was telling somebody the other day is that you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. You have to find what you're able to bring value into whatever marketplace that you're in. And for me, it's pouring into people, is being able to take care of people, or the food side, like for them to be able to have their wedding and not have to worry about the food at all, and they can trust us to do it. That brings me value. That brings me encouragement, to see my team develop and become great people, great leaders for the community. That is what motivates me to continue to keep going. And so you got to find that, you got to find what that is for you, because it's not going to be easy, but
That's
it's
right.
so worth it. It's so
That's
worth
right.
it once you start to see, like, I can look at Timmy. I always give him as an example. He started as a dishwasher at the restaurant that we worked at. Started as a dishwasher, worked his way up through the kitchen, and now runs my kitchen for a multi-million-dollar company. Like that doesn't happen overnight. That happens because, we as leaders, we take the time to pour into them, we encourage them, we uplift them, we pull them along with us as we go. And so that's where I find true value in ownership and in business. So
Britany, let me ask you these because um, again, looking at it from hindsight, what you already had to go through, right?
mhm,
You can see it now and say, yeah, this is the right decision. I needed to do
mhm,
this. I needed to pour into
mhm,
them. What the majority of people in business find anxiety on is really the idea that when they are doing things and they make mistakes, you did it yourself, right? It's your business. You're going to be able to correct. You're going to find a way to work it out. But when that's no longer in the cards because they're on somebody else's lap, right?
mhm.
Then you have no idea whether or not that's being done. It's not the error part because errors are going to happen, right?
Oh yeah,
We're going to make mistakes all the time.
absolutely.
It's the what do we do when that happens? Because I train myself to respond. I train myself to take care of things, but our people are not.
Mm,
When you're talking about pouring into people, what does that mean when it comes to they're going to make mistakes?
mhm,
They're going to learn through that, right?
mhm, mhm.
What can you tell our audience about it?
I look at I'm able to, I think the biggest thing is to look in the mirror when you ask that question, because like as I was growing, I worked for Cheddar's for 10 years. I got paid to learn how to run my own business. I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes. And so if I'm able to look at myself and say, I wasn't perfect, I made mistakes, then I can have more grace with my staff and say, okay, they're going to learn, they're going to make mistakes. My goal is to teach them how to learn from those mistakes. And my biggest thing is I tell them is I don't want people to tell me the problems. I want you to become a problem solver. So bring me the problems in your department. We just did evaluations, and I told them I want you to bring me the issues in your department, but I want you to bring me solutions also to your department. So it's teaching them and training them to, when you have those problems, find solutions. Don't just give me the problems, because I can't be everywhere and I can't fix everything. But I'm going to train you to learn how to, when you see that problem, how are you going to solve it? And so that it takes time. Like it's taken me probably a solid year for me to get that mentality in their mind, because they used to text me, Britt, this isn't doing, Brittany, this isn't happening, Britt, this broke. Okay, what's the solution? Don't just tell me a problem. And so now they don't tell me the problems. Like they'll go a whole day and be like, Britt, this happened, this happened, this happened, but we did this, we did this, we fixed it by doing this. And so like it's taken a year for them to change that mindset, but a lot of it is how you view it, giving them grace, and then training them on how to solve problems.
So, and thank you for that. That's exactly the sort of thing that we need to make sure that our audience gets, right? And
Mhm.
so, I'm going to shift a little bit, just moving on to what makes your business very special. So, who primarily does your business serve? If I were in the audience, how will I know I was a good fit for you and your products?
So our main clientele is going to be just busy working people in different aspects. So we have 4 or 5 different areas of business. So we have our catering, which that is takes care of everybody. I believe, families, you're going to have weddings, you're going to have birthday parties, you're going to have anniversary parties. So anybody that wants to enjoy their event and not have to stress about food and setups and all that, that I believe that it comes to everybody at certain times in their life. The other two are our drive-through. Like I really take a lot of pride in, we make almost 95% of everything we make is 100% from scratch. And so we want to be able to, I want to be able to give you grandma's a meal that grandma cooked for lunch and dinner every single day. And so anybody that's coming through the drive-through, for lunch, they want to feed themselves, they want to feed their office, or they want to feed their families at dinner. That's one thing that's I think it's become a lost art is that we don't sit at the dinner table anymore. But you can come pick up a hot family meal that feeds 4 to 6 people, put it on the dinner table, and you sit down and not have to slave over a stove, but you could sit down and ask your kids how their day was. And then vending machines has become the our biggest I had a friend that asked me, she said, Britt, how do you get to the people that can't leave work? Because half of our society, they only get 30-minute breaks. You got to think about the hospitals, the teachers, a lot of the people in these different industries, they don't get lunch breaks. And so we are able to put our vending machine with our food in it, and we're able to put it in different places. We have them in, Lockheed Martin, wood mills. We have it in schools. We have it in hospitals. And so that way we can take homemade meals to them. And that's our goal, is to basically give you a nutritious meal so that you have the energy to do what God has called you to do. And so I feel like anybody that fits in that bubble anywhere, from catering to drive through to even our school, we feed kids, so some kids, they might not get a meal, after they leave school, and so we're able to help provide a great nutritious meal for kids as well. So we kind of hit a little bit of everybody in different realms. So
It's amazing. Okay, so are you localized in your city? Is it expanding? How what is your service area?
yes, we cater anywhere from we go all the way from Dallas to Houston. So we've driven as far as 3 or 4 hours to do a wedding or a catering. Our vending services, we're probably we're getting closer. We're spanning all over East Texas. So we go 45 minutes toward Corrigan. We also go 45 minutes back toward Timpson. And we cater in Houston all the time as well. And so our market is currently expanding. And then hopefully, we'll be able to get a couple more drive-throughs in different areas as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Okay, and so it really tells me a little bit about how unique it is what you're trying to put together. But one question I have kept it keeps coming back to my mind is what type of food is it that you guys make?
Comfort food. And so you think about it. I never heard of chicken spaghetti until I moved to East Texas. So I just learned how to make it. And so we go through about 400 pounds of chicken spaghetti a week. And so it's comfort food. Anything you think about, beef tips and rice, chicken, fried fish, anything that brings comfort to you, that's the kind of food that we cook. And so that's one thing we take pride in, is that I don't buy chicken breasts already battered. We hand batter every chicken breast, every shrimp, every chicken fried steak. We hand
You're
cut bell
making me hungry
peppers,
now. I need to know that.
bell peppers, zucchini, squash. We hand cut all of that stuff. And so like my grandma was the one that taught me how to cook, and so I take a lot of pride in making sure that I keep those same values of what she's taught me. So,
That's amazing. And you said that you're originally from Georgia,
yes, sir.
right? So
Yes, sir.
I will expect a lot of Southern influence in your food.
Yes,
Yes?
sir.
Okay. All right. So what is one thing you wish more people knew about your business?
Oh, that's a great question. I think one thing is that we're different than others. Because that's one thing we're really trying to push, is that is eat real food. My grandma is now 96 years old. Still, she up until last year, she's still driving. She still lives on her own. She still, is able to do everything on her own. She still cooks Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner for all of us. And so how she's able, and that's one thing I asked her, how are you? You and her sister is 101. And so I was like, how are y'all able to do all this stuff? But they ate real food. They ate from the ground. They ate from things that ate the things that grew. Not a lot of processed foods and things like that. And so that's one thing like I really want people to know, is that we take a lot of pride in doing things the right way. Yes, we're not going to be the cheapest option, but we are going to put the most love and the most care into what we do. And so then when you understand that, you understand the value of what you're paying for. And so we're just trying to figure out different ways to be able to relay that message in a way that people understand.
Right, right. I mean, let's be realistic. There's uh, there's this, I guess, dichotomy that exists with, the convenience of, whatever is available in your marketplace, and what you really should be looking after, which is your nutrition and energy coming in from what you intake. Um,
Yep.
so you know, I live here in the US for the past 20, 22 years. And it's amazing to me that you can be hungry even though you're eating quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean it's just so I cook my own food too. I can relate to you in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You understand?
All right. Well, that is great. But that leads me to marketing, which is something that is vital, right, for every business and often an area many people struggle with, right? And so I'm always curious about what people like you do to get this message across, right? How do you turn uh, this message into something that gets to the right people?
Yes, that's great. I think the biggest thing in business, you have to be willing to pivot because you have to change with what's going on in the marketplace. We started out doing, Facebook ads. We tried billboards. I've tried magazines, newspaper. We're currently now the biggest thing is videos now, and so Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So now we're doing videos, and then we are Google ads is something that's very big now, and so making sure that you're at the top of the Google, making sure your website is right, making sure your SEO. And so those are the three things that we're focused on now. And so over the last 3 years, I've shifted and tried different things because we have to shift. And YouTube is becoming something that's another big thing. So we're looking into getting into that. But each industry is going to be a little bit different. And the key is just you doing your research. Okay, where's your target market? Where are they looking to look for food for? So I believe when people in this area are looking for food, they're looking at Google, food near me, food around
Okay.
me. They're looking for Google. In Atlanta, where my sister lives, she uses Yelp. And so Yelp is a big thing that restaurants in that area, they need to focus on making sure their reviews are right, making sure their pictures are right, making sure their data is up to date on there. And so you really have to see what it is. If it's online e-commerce business, you have to really push your ads because you got to pop up at the real, you got to pop at the top of the reels and the programming at Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And so those are things that I know that are working for us right now. We've truly grown. We've focused on growing our reach and how many people have liked our pages, our Facebook, our Instagram, and our TikTok. And we're just trying to provide between educational about our business, but also educating staff or educating our clients about different cooking methods of how to cook this, how to make this, and just trying to keep people intrigued on our brand. And so I don't know. We're just adapting as the industry changes, and so you have to be creative and be willing to pivot for sure.
That is amazing, and it really is an area that it's so critical in a business like this. You gotta stay relevant, and you gotta be in
Mhm.
front of people, otherwise somebody else will. And
Yep.
that's really where you can see the competition happening.
Hmm.
So we spent a bunch of time focused on these and sharing a few of the best practices with the audience. I'd like to take a step back a little bit, right?
Hmm.
And maybe dive into the journey a little bit more. We already talked about a few things that were challenging and how, from start of the conceptual idea to getting started, all that through the growth. Um, you were working and you had a stable livelihood, I'm assuming, and you decided I'm gonna go and pursue these, right? So what was that transition like for you when you finally decided I'm gonna stop these and I'm gonna move on to these?
Yeah. It was really scary. I'm not even gonna lie. It was scary coming from a stable income to like, okay, are people gonna call to order a catering so that I can have to be able to pay my bills? I was very fortunate. Yes, in the first couple of years of working, I didn't pay myself. And so I wasn't able to, and we weren't making the money yet. And so, it is something the one thing I wish I had done a better job of. I wish I had saved more money before I got started, because there are so many expenses that come in. There's so many things you have to spend money to make money. I had to,
That's right.
get loans to be able to buy equipment, to buy vehicles, to buy tables, to buy my equipment to be able to cater. So at first I was able to buy stuff as I needed it, but once we got bigger, I had to have that stuff to be able to operate. And so that's one thing I wish I had done a better job is saving, 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 and having a bigger reserve so that I didn't have to get in debt so quickly. And so that's one thing I would truly encourage anybody, try to stay out of debt as long as possible. And that's one of my probably my biggest struggles right now. Is that like I want to get out of debt so bad. I don't like owing or having to depend
Right.
on debt. And so
And the business will drive you to
yes.
go in and pursue getting into more debt because you want
Hmm.
it to succeed, right?
Yep.
But that's a very, very call it very common error that
Hmm.
we go into financing to cover operational expenses, and
Yep.
that's just a bad formula to start with. I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's a transition. But as you look back in your journey, what has been the most memorable roadblock? Like this is like I did consider. I even started walking towards the door. It's a roadblock, and I don't know if I can overcome it. But
Hmm.
you needed to, and you made a decision to go through it.
That's a good question. Probably the most memorable roadblock is probably finding reliable staffing, because I could only do so much. I remember it was one holiday season. Um, I had a couple people quit. We had people not show up for work, and then we have an order for 200 people, and people are still expecting us to show up for their catering. And so, like, if you don't have, I didn't have people that I could depend on to show up, and so it pushed me to the limit of okay, I had to show up at 6 a.m. We got to start cooking for it, then we gotta prep for it, then we gotta cook for it, then we have to go set up the catering, then we have to go work the catering. And so that puts me working. I think I remember we worked, it was me and two other people. We worked almost that was a record. I don't think I've ever worked that long again, but we worked 32 hours straight. And so it was rough, but all the orders were there. We had to fulfill the orders. That's really bad business if you're not able to fulfill the orders that
Right.
people have already ordered and paid for. And so like like I remember like we looked at each other and I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't do like there's no way you can physically work for that long and do it very long. And so like I knew at that point like I had to find staffing, but I had to find the right staffing. When they say, hire very slowly and fire quickly is so imperative. You have to have people that you depend on to help you to be able to push through the business that you have.
So that was a breakthrough for you at that point.
Oh yes, oh yeah, it was life changing because I was like, I
Okay, well,
can't
but
do this.
this is very common, Brittany. I mean, this is extremely common. Like, you know, um, there's this mentality. There are no people out there that can do this job correctly, or it's extremely hard to find the right kind of people that I can rely on, that I can trust. Because everybody around here is unreliable. Or they don't want to do the work. They're lazy, whatever. Right? It's a mentality. Because you can't say that about the people you have working with you right now,
Mm-mm. No,
right?
it's a mentality, but you have to do your part and pour and find the right people and pour into the right people. One thing that I do now, I pray. Whenever I need staff, and I say, God, I need you to bring me the right people. And it's been like literally like I've had to very minimal. I've had to market on hiring in the last probably 4 years. Like I pray first. Number two is I interview well. I ask the detailed questions. I make sure that I ask, simple things like if in a 3 month period, how many days you think it's okay to call in and say I'm not coming to work? If you tell me, oh, 4 or 5, oh no, you're not the right person for me. I need somebody that I'm gonna depend on. That's gonna
I
if
mean,
you
the
say
people
one,
do answer
0,
that,
or
don't they?
they do. I promise you, I've had people answer that. And they've said that, and they thought it was okay. But no, most the ones that I know, if they tell me, oh no, I don't call in, I show up to work. That shows me okay. They know the value of loyalty. They know the value of showing up to work. So interview well, but then the last part of that is you have to train well. The first 2 weeks that they work for you, you set the tone for what your expectations for as a boss. You inspect what you expect. If you let them come in and bring in bad habits and things like that, then that's on you. But if you show up and you say, hey, okay, this is how you wash your hands every time you come into work for, you 20 seconds, you make sure that you have a clean apron, you make sure that you do things this right way, and you set the tone, then you pour it into that person, you show that person value, then you set the bar for what your expectations are, and then that gives them a 50-50 chance. They can either do it or they don't, but at least you did your part to give them the opportunity. So
Wow. That's that is very good, Brittany. Very, very good. Well, let me fast forward a little bit. So what do the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
I'm actually in that process right now of we're doing process of elimination. And so I think my goal is to I want to open a third location, a third drive-through location for sure. I'm not sure exactly where yet, but I want to open a third drive-through, and then I want to standardize my business, my workflow, and I want to be able to offer franchise options for people to either do the catering option, the drive-through option, or the vending option of my business. And so that's going to take some getting some systems in place and stuff like that. But that's the next 3 to 5 years is like I want to figure out how to multiply, the vision that we've kind of brought to life here at Tomé.
Will you share with us, your goal setting process? How do you set what you're going to be going after?
I believe very firmly in doing vision boards. I believe in doing, writing your vision out, making it plain. If it's not written down, then you don't know what you're working toward. And so like what we do is I did actually this year we did a vision board for my personal and I did a vision board for my business. And so I wrote down, okay, and it's and I'll let me backtrack just a little bit. Whenever I first started, I still have the original checklist of what I wanted to accomplish. And I put, okay, all of these things that I want to accomplish, I put a 10-year span on that. I was able to accomplish everything on that list in 8 years. And so at that point, I had to basically throw that paper away. And then I'm in the process still of rewriting, okay, what does the next 10 years look like again? What do I want Tomei to look like? Because yes, it looks like what different than what I thought it was going to look like, but I'm excited in the direction that we're going. And so that's what I'm doing now. And so franchising obviously is one, getting my systems in place where my team, the team can run this business without me. Like right now, like I'm able to come late, go to meetings, go do podcasts, do different things at this point, and the business operates without me. And so like you have to be if I can multiply myself, then I've done my part. And so that's my biggest thing is work on multiplication and creating systems where they can be duplicated and somebody could come in and they could say, okay, I want to have my own restaurant. And then I'm able to give them the blueprint of how to succeed. So
It's amazing. It sounds very inspiring. So we have certainly covered a lot of ground in this conversation today. I think that we could probably speak for hours and
yes,
and and and,
absolutely.
and really squeeze out some of these for everybody to learn something from. But for those people watching, I highly encourage you to save these and come back a few times because there's very, very good information in this interview. Lots of great nuggets here. As we begin to wrap up, Brittany, I have a few rapid fire questions.
Yes.
Quick couple of hit answers for each, okay? So, number one, what is the key to success for you?
Um, hard work.
What is your one piece of advice for other business people?
Use self-care, take self-care seriously. Take care of yourself. If there is no you, there is no business.
What is one book you're reading now or you have read most recently?
Will the art of hospitality. Will I can't say his last name. Gurati. He has the best restaurant, 11 Madison Park. They own the best restaurant in the world. And so his book is phenomenal. Just talking about the details of what makes a restaurant great.
If you had to choose only one area of your business that you could immediately fix today or improve tomorrow, what will that be? Like immediately, magic one type.
Systems, like having clear systems where there's no that I like I'm very like by the whim go by the whim of my pants. And so like a lot of for years I didn't have recipes. And so like my grandma taught me to cook a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so like I had to make sure that I've honed in and gotten recipes and then just doing a better job getting systems in place so that nobody has like there's not a guessing game. So I wish I could just do that really quickly.
All right. So before we get into the final question of the day, how can other people learn about you or your company?
Our website is eattomay.com. And so we have a lot of information on there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And so probably but those would be the great, the best places to locate us and learn more information about what we do.
Outstanding. And so, last question, Brittany. What do you find is most inspiring for you today?
seeing people develop and grow and become better people under your leadership. Like, I don't know, that brings me so much joy, to see people's progress and to see them pouring back into somebody else, because you took the time to pour into them.
That is very deep. Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience for watching and sharing. You never know who you might inspire by getting them to listen or see this interview. And so make it a great day. Until next time.